Hello everyone, this is Ruben for Sinusoidal Music, and we have with us Rohan Stevenson, Ro, from I Built the Sky, a really super awesome Australian prog metal rock project, and it's really great to have you here with us, Rohan.
Oh, happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. It's good to chat. Looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
yes, really looking forward to it. And to start with the difficult questions, I hope you had a good lunch. I think it's the afternoon right now in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, it's the afternoon. I'm still anticipating lunch. Actually, I'm a bit
Oh damn.
behind.
Oh
I've had a
damn.
big morning of doing things. So yeah, yeah,
Right, yeah. And it's been an interesting journey for you since you started your project I Built the Sky back in 2012, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. And I had come across your single through the magic of the YouTube algorithm up into the ether back in 2019. And
Oh yeah.
of course, we are connecting today to discuss your upcoming album, which is going to release at the end of this month.
That's right.
Right.
29th of May is the launch date.
Quite similarly to the themes of your music, it's titled Promise Me You'll Thrive. And that seems to be quite a major theme in your music, even in Up Into the Ether or your album Zenith Rise. Of course, you yourself have mentioned it's about positivity, and usually your music has that it's a mix of the inspirational with that metal punch. So,
Mhm.
how back when you started your project, how did you like? What was it about? I know that your inspirations were Green Day or Foo Fighters, these kind of acts. So just tell us about that. How was it growing up, listening to rock music and all of that? Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely started on like punk stuff. So Green Day would be more of a start, an introduction to music for me, um, and the whole punk thing. So I just got really addicted to that sound, especially like aggressive guitars and things. Even before I knew how to play guitar, I was listening to that music and just enjoying it. So yeah, and then I just slowly progressed and I really just found a lot of excitement listening to music and finding new artists and hearing different sounds and different ways songs could be, and getting into the heavier side of things. And it just was an evolution, and it's still, my tastes are still constantly evolving now. And yeah, so definitely grew up on the punk sound, and now I tend to listen to a lot of that older stuff too, but I love listening to new music in different styles, not necessarily guitar-based styles of music. So because I've heard so much, and now I do this as a profession, so I'm around rock music a lot. So I like to find different styles to sink into, and yeah, just big fan of music. Really, at the end of the day.
Right. I'm even up into the ether. I was just watching the video again, and I saw that in the starting shot you have like a at your desk you have a picture of the Foo Fighters, and then of
Mhm.
course you have the rest of the story, and it's also quite interesting because speaking of your sound, you I think from your first two albums you had this thing what could be described as back in the early 2010s you had this fledging more faster what you could call Djent influence modern prog instrumental guitar sound,
Mhm.
and then with the Zenith Rise you had a much I would say more a mix of ambient and cinematic sound. And I think with this album and of course after that with your orchestral acoustic project The Quiet Place Away,
Mhm.
you have experimented quite a bit, but it seems that with this new album you're mixing a bit of all your various musical sides.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is like the amalgamation of everything I've learnt along the way. So you're going to get the shred stuff and the big riffs, but you're also going to get more in terms of depth, sonically and instrumentally instrumentation, recording cello and different instruments, synths and effects and bass and drums, and adding different ambience, different types of guitar sounds. So it's just more depth to the music. But I think that enhances the overall songs, but the spirit of it is still what I like to, that kind of my style, I guess, the positive metal in a way, uplifting and that kind of sound, which is what I personally enjoy to make.
Okay, so what is it with the imagery of the sky? I think it's of course there in your, from the very beginning, you have your title itself. But even when I look at your artwork, right? I think uh, Pat Fox, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat Fox is your collaborator visually, and I think you have told about how the visuals are quite important. And even with the Quiet Place Away, I believe you made a model of that beautiful countryside when you and even I think a lot of your video work is interesting. So tell us about that, like about the artwork for the Zenith Rise. I want to know more about the philosophy behind it, and even right now, I think you have this very so from the Zenith Rise, you have this sci-fi futuristic visuals, and now I think. You have something. I mean, there's a bit of more darkness in the visuals, but also, you have the message that we need to work harder wherever it is that we are.
So with the visuals, I definitely enjoy working with someone like Pat, who's a really high functioning artist, someone who can really double down on their own thing, which I really look up to and really respect as to work with someone. They're not just following trends and following what the genre is doing as a whole. We like to try to break away from that a little bit, and the visuals is a part of that. I definitely started off pretty simple in the beginnings, but I'm sort of talking more about 2019 and on when I sort of began my career in this, and sort of trying to really step up the imagery and get that world building happening. You want people to be really immersed in what you're doing, so that's really important to me. And working with Pat is the secret sauce, I think. Yeah.
I mean, of course, the visual part of it is, I remember, I think back then you used to have these videos where I think you would walk out on the streets and, randomly meet people and make people listen to your music. So, how do you see that issue of marketing? I think it's a thing, where musicians, of course, now have to do everything, a bit of everything, music, video, marketing, all of it. So, how do you see it from your perspective? Is it fun? Is it, tiring, or how do you see it?
Right now, I'm a little bit exhausted, but generally I like it. I have fun with it. I enjoy engaging on social media, especially engaging with your fans, people that have, that's the reason why I'm here, because people listen to and support me, and all of that. So I definitely love communicating and reaching those people. I'm not afraid to have conversations in my DMs and all of that. It can be a lot of fun. Like, making video content can be a lot of fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun doing all the video clips for this new album. There's 2 video clips that are like full length video clips, and I've got a lot of short form content that is slowly rolling out. So much content. I've only just begun posting that, so there's a lot coming, which is fun. And we sort of spent a day trying to get that content happening. So that stuff is actually a lot of fun. I really do enjoy that. But then there's like the spreadsheets and that kind of thing that you really have to do to maintain a certain level as a business owner, So there is that kind of stuff. I don't hate it, actually, because it's relevant to my interests, and everything is relevant to my life and my interests and my passions. So I actually don't hate doing the spreadsheet stuff, but it's definitely not as fun as being in a studio or filming something or recording something, but yeah, I mean, what can you do? You just got to immerse yourself in it, or you're doomed.
Right. So, I think I mean, you have toured with the who, all the biggest names in, prog rock, Plini, I think, Between the Buried and Me, Dillinger Escape Plan, Monuments, all of these people. And I just wanted to ask who is the most funniest person you've met on tour among the people who we know?
Definitely Ollie Steele from Monuments. He was the
Oh,
funniest.
Jay, I wanted to ask, what is the magic sauce in Australia's waters, which has given us so many amazing, interesting acts, right? Right from Carnival all the way to Pliny or Oblivious Scaris, Ne Oblivious Scaris.
Mhm.
So, what is it about the Australian metal scene or prog scene? Do you think that has some really unique acts?
It's an interesting question because I don't necessarily know, but I just think that Australia has a really strong musical culture of
Right.
all styles of music. There's so many artists here, and I guess we just feed off each other. Everyone's feeding off each other and everyone's inspiring each other, and it's been a snowball effect, I think. So don't know if there's anything in the water particularly, but I think it's just the artist inspiring artists and still a lot of great culture in Australia for music and arts, and lots of great venues in Australia. So there's always live music going on. And I don't know. That's all I can say, really.
You yourself have toured India. You played the NH7 weekend in Pune back in
Hmm.
23, and even till 24 you played at Meghalaya and Bangalore. So how was that
Hmm.
experience? Of course, what did you like about India? You even had a mini documentary on your YouTube channel. So what did you like about it? What you did not like about maybe the logistics or other things you did not enjoy so much or could be improved about India, you think?
We had a really good experience. Both times was a really fantastic experience, and we were looked after really, really well. So I definitely want to come back. Just to put it out there right away because we had such a great time. The audiences were really enthusiastic, which is always cool. We met a lot of people, and it was just a great. It was just I have nothing negative to say. It was all good on my end. I mean, it is a bit of a distance. I mean, the travel part is challenging, and airports and customs. That's always a bit of a drainer. But the shows were amazing. All the shows we did were really well received and well done, well organized, and yeah. So I've had a really great experience over there, and I'm looking forward to returning sometime soon, hopefully. Um, yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, and we are really looking forward to listening to the new tracks from Promise Me. You'll thrive as well from you, hopefully, very soon. Tell us about the production of this album, and I think you've been working on it. I think right after the Quiet Place, right? So how was that? What were the new things? I think with the Quiet Place, you mentioned that you went back to an Airbnb, you isolated yourself, immersed yourself in that environment. So like, how was it? Did you have to come out of it? I think the first track from the album, reminds me of some of that Quiet Place energy, and before you move into the more energetic,
Mm.
punchier parts. So
Mm.
how was the production process of this album, new album?
Well, it's been a ride because I actually started writing for this album in 2022, and actually even have a song that predates that as well. So because I looked at my files, my exported files at one point, and found that one of my songs dates back to 2020, which even shocked me. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, so basically 2022, end of 2022, I started officially writing for this album. Um, and did a month of writing in an Airbnb specifically for this album. That was in 2022, and then in 2023 I did a lot of touring, so I
Right.
wasn't able to get into the writing so much. 2024 was a bit up and down, some touring then, and just life stuff, and then it wasn't until 2025 that I really picked it back up again. So end of 2024 is when I committed to booking studio time early 2025 to get the album happening, because there was sort of a point in time where it's like, I need to make this happen, so I need to just book in studio time. All the stuff that I had prepared in 2022, I actually scrapped. So I had to start totally fresh, and I had no material, but I said, let's just book studio time because that's going to make it happen, you know. So that really kicked everything up a notch, you know. And then from then on, I started writing and trying to figure out the music. And yeah, it was a big process. Booked the studio time, recorded the drums. I had to finish writing the songs to track the drums. So it was some of the last songs happened within the last like 2 weeks before the recording studio time. So it's a lot of pressure, because if I didn't have anything to record, then that's a lot of time and money wasted and lost. So, but anyway, I did get over the line. I wrote 10 songs and sent them over to my drummer Dave to learn and to flesh out. And we did a week of tracking drums up in Brisbane. Then from there, we did all the rest of the things, the keyboards and synth stuff, and I had to track the guitars. Tracking the guitars took me 3 months. So there's a lot of
Right.
basically full time
Right.
tracking guitars. So there's a lot of involved there. And then they did the bass, which happened pretty quickly with Toby. And then I did cellos, and then I worked on string arrangements with Jake Wilson, who is from the UK. And yeah, then it was a matter of mixing and all that sort of stuff, which Forrester was in charge of. And that happened quite quickly, really, as well. So yeah, and then it was getting content together and all that stuff. And yeah, so it's been a massive journey, and it's yeah, still I'm still in the promoting stage and all that stuff. So still deep in the cave, really. Yeah.
Right. It was interesting when you mentioned that you just booked the studio time, and then, so I think even, a highly accomplished musician like yourself, I think needs that push. Okay, I have that
Yeah.
deadline, and, I need to get all my parts sorted out, before, just to get things done. You were mentioning about promotions, and I think for this album, you have a bunch of physical media out there. You have a very beautiful looking vinyl record for the album, CDs, and I think you're even giving away picks and a guitar, right? A shovel guitar. So tell us about that
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you pre-order my album before the 28th of May, you're going to automatically go in the draw to win a brand new Charvel guitar, which I featured on my channel recently, actually. Great guitar, kindly supplied by Charvel. So it's sort of a collaboration between us. And yeah, it's just a fun little promotion idea that I wanted to do. And yes, and also lots of things like drumsticks that were used to record the album, and guitar picks. So I actually used guitar picks, brand new, recorded songs, put them in a bag, and wrote down what song I used that on. So I kept track
Oh,
of
wow.
that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
because I thought that would be a fun thing for
Fun
fans,
thing.
you know? Yeah, like this pick was used on this song. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I've catalogued that, and I'm going to be giving them away to people who pre-order before the 28th of May. So you'll just be randomly selected, and you'll get that thrown into your vinyl or CD, or yeah.
Right, of course. And speaking of guitars and gear, I think you used to use Kiesel guitars, and now most of your guitars which you use are Charvel guitars. So I would want to ask you, if all your guitars were on a sinking ship, and you could only save one, so which one makes it on the lifeboat with you? So you only have to choose one guitar.
Okay, I think I'm going to grab the ones that you can't replace.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I would do, because the ones that I have, and I love them, you could just buy them again, you know,
Right.
if that was
Right.
to happen. So I'd grab some of my more vintage ones.
Right.
you can't really replace those. They're sort of one of a kind in a way. So I'd probably go those sort of vintage ones. And I have a bunch of they're called Maton guitars, an
Right.
Australian company, who I also endorse. They typically do acoustic guitars, but back in the day they used to do electric guitars, and those electric guitars are very rare and very special. Those are the ones I'd grab
Right.
because you can't replace those ones.
Placed.
Where my other ones that I use for I Built the Sky, I can probably get them made again.
Right, right,
So
fine. So,
yeah, it's one of those a strategic move there.
right, right. And speaking of gear, I think you use Neural DSP, right? I think you used to use your Axe effects before for recordings, and now you use the Neural
Yeah,
DSP Cortex, right?
yeah,
So,
yep.
what is your usual tone? I asked this to guitarists. I mean, what is your tone philosophy? How do you go about crafting tones in general?
I don't go too deep into it, honestly. I just tweak, try out the different amps, try out the different cabs. They're the main things. I like to use a overdrive in front to get a bit more attack and a bit more aggression in the chugging and things. You learn that from artists and things along the way, and that sort of that sort of gets probably 80% of it really. And then you just tweak little things. I like to make it heavy, big, warm, big, heavy, and not too harsh. So I like to carve off some of the top end a lot of the time, so it's not harsh to listen to. That's really important to me, as well as in mixing as well. It's like that harshness. You want it to sound better as you turn it up, and not sound like it's hurting and you want to get away from the speakers. You need that warmth and that tone that's inviting to the listener. So yeah, I'm definitely conscious of that. And then it's just really how it responds and how it feels, and that attack. Is it heavy? Is it rich? Is it not too harsh on the top end? The sustain, that sort of thing. And then if it feels right, you just go with it.
But I think you also have a lot of nice analog gear, a lot of interesting pedals.
These days, I use a lot of modeling. Yeah, because it means I can use it live too, and it's very
Uh,
simple and uncomplicated and portable, which is important. Yeah, so I am really removed from analog stuff these days.
right.
But when we did the drums, we did a lot of preamps and studio magic there with the signal chains and signal paths because we used a proper studio there. But for the guitars, really, it's very driven by the awesome digital gear that we now have. Yeah,
And moving from gear to songwriting, I think you have mentioned that some of your past songwriting approach, like you generally don't prefer writing 10-minute songs, and you try to make your songs all killer, no filler,
yeah.
kind of kind of arrangements. So generally, like how do you go about it? Like, do you like record a riff, or record like you have like 100 recorded riffs, and then you just sit down and like, okay, I'm just gonna choose this. So how do you go about write songwriting?
Yeah, just basically start from the start. So section A, I will usually just program drums to jam along with, and just program something. Find a BPM, and you'll have an idea of like kind of the vibe you want to go for. Like, is it a big anthemic thing? Is it a really technical guitar thing? Is it it's like a heavy riff thing? Is it chuggy? Is it what kind of feeling are you going for? So I'll have that in mind, and I'll find the BPM, map out the drums so that it's just sort of something to play to, and then I'll just record and just riff along to it and experiment and just listen and until you feel like you're locking into something, and then you might pause it for a minute, okay, listen back, and then things start to occur to you like, oh, what if that note was a 16th note later, then you might manipulate it. Okay, let's play it a 16th note later. So you might move your kick a 16th note, and then try and hit that when you're retracking the riff again, So it's just little by little in that way. You start to flesh out a section of music, and then you start layering things on top, synths, guitar layers, or bass, and just anything. You just got to experiment and just go with it a little bit, and then then you start looking at a section, and then it's like, okay, cool. Now what? Where can we go from there? Where does this need to go? And then you might I try to contrast. So if it's a big section here, maybe what comes next is a small section, or it's technical, not technical. I try to keep those contrasting things because I think that's what makes songs interesting and fun as a journey. Yeah.
And when I was listening to this Zenith Rise, I think, of course, Up Into the Ether is one of my favorite songs, and Wormhole, Traveler, Light Pillows, some amazing songwriting. But one of my favorite songs used to be this The Only Way Out Is Up, which is
Right.
beautiful, beautiful song which just keeps building up. So
Mm.
and it's also, I think it's a slight mood change towards the end of the album. So just tell me about the creation of that song in particular.
Yeah. I think that's in response to what was written before it, very technical. So, I'm just very creative, so I like to explore. I don't like to do the same thing. If I've written a technical song, I don't want to write another technical song. I feel like I've done that. So let's try something else. So I get sucked into that, and for better or worse, I tend to explore new ground and just try something different. I like to try the opposite. That's like the whole reason why the Quiet Place Away album exists. It's all acoustic. It's not to the click. It's organic. It's played very acoustic guitar. It's less manipulation. Total different vibe, but still me. And that's just a reaction to my creative brain. So yeah, that song, The Only Way Out Is Up, is just a result of that. Something simple and got that anthemic kind of thing, gradually builds nice and slow, and just a nice fun alternative to the album. I think that's what a good album should do. It should take you on a journey. You don't just want to go like here and then you just stay here and then
Right,
that's
right.
it. Let's go on highs and lows, and we want to experience a journey and keep it fun and entertaining and inspiring, and that's what helps get that is having those contrasting things. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, indeed, of course. I think a lot of songwriting, which is interesting about the modern technical shred songwriting, or even in your kind of music, is the introduction of so much innovative melodic and harmonic composition, which is a contrast to some of the, shredded till melt your face kind of approach. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of your themes are also about, the hustle of the, the musician, the independent modern musician, who has, of course, has a lot of creative freedom. I think you mentioned that you like the creative freedom aspect of being an independent musician, but also the challenges of of being in the independent space. So, how do you see the future for rock and metal music as an independent musician, or even in the mainstream? Like, how do you see rock and metal music? I mean, you have an act like Sleep Token, who's become so huge, but
Mm.
at the same time, I think metal and rock seems to be becoming more and more of its own isolated space. So how do you see
Mm.
the big picture of it?
I think it's just always going to be there. Like, I mean, in my lifetime at least, because it's just got its own thing, and it's like the anti mainstream, and there's always going to be that. There's always people that identify with that, the alternative and something different to what's pushed on you in mass. So I think that's what metal and rock is, or what it is to me. Yeah, so I think it'll always be there in my lifetime, and then after my lifetime, who knows? Maybe will fade out and new things happen. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a culture that is very strong and firm. I don't think it's ever going to take over in a mainstream sense. But having said that, there's some bands like you mentioned that are doing pretty epic level things. So that's cool. And, if more people get into metal and heavy rock and that kind of sounds, then I'm all for it.
Right. I mean, we are definitely all for it and hope to see more and more interesting acts. So I'm just going to try to close with the two questions. The first would be, what would be your advice to other aspiring musicians? I mean, up into the ether, right? I mean, the vibe of the song is to, just go try out, whatever it is that you want to do, your creative passions and all of that. So what would be your advice to anybody going out there? That would be my first question. And second would be, which are the other interesting acts you've heard from across the world, from Australia? So maybe some acts people don't know, which people should check out.
Okay. Your first question, I would say if you have a burning passion for something, and that's it's something that you're constantly thinking about, and it's part of you, and you're burning passion towards it, then you just got to do it. Like the universe wants you to do it. You want to do it. The universe wants you to do it. Like the universe doesn't want to put someone who's creative in a non-creative. Like that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone. Like people that have a burning passion for something, you really just got to do it. Do it and love it, have fun and work hard, and you could do well. That's the thing now. It's all about small niches that can really excel. You don't have to be world famous to live, I feel like there's so many great examples of that. Small bands that I haven't even heard of, and you discover them and they're already doing amazing, And to answer your question, your second question was about who should people check out?
Yes. Any other interesting people should check out?
I mean, this is an endless list if you want the truth. But off the top of my head, a lot of great guitarists to check out would be Andy Gillian. He is based in Melbourne as well. Amazing musician and songwriter, and doing some great stuff in music and heavy music and things. Check out my other band called Sunk Loto.
Oh, right. I think you put out a story about it today, right?
Yeah, we just released a new song, actually.
Oh,
today. So
okay. Yeah, we'll have to check that.
With me and vocals. A lot of people are like, do something with vocals. Well, there it is.
Oh, okay. We are definitely going to check those out. Yeah.
A couple more for you. James Norbert Avani. He does really interesting guitar-based instrumental music as well. He's got his own style. It's really, really cool. And he's an exceptional musician, exceptional guitarist. I follow all these guys, so you can find these on my Instagram page and things. Kian Hujmand, who's doing great stuff as a metal instrumental artist as well. Jake's doing amazing things in his own right as well. My list is too long, but there's a few that you could start with.
Right. So we're going to check all of these, and we are also going to, of course, listen to the whole album, Promise Me You'll Thrive, releasing at the end of this month, May 28th, right?
May 29th.
May 29th.
But my little competition to win a guitar cuts off on the 28th.
28th,
so
right.
If you want to win a guitar or be in the draw to win a guitar, you need to pre-order CD, vinyl, or digital on my Bandcamp, and you'll be entered in the draw to win that.
Yes, so definitely at the time of this recording, before May 28th, you gotta go pre-order any of these cool goodies and win a chance to win a cool guitar. So thank you again, Rohan. We are just at the nick of time. So thank you so much for your time, Rohan. Thank you so much, and looking forward to the album. Thank you.
Great, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you.